Mccargo is one of those Pokemons that's just so forgettable. Even after receiving a stat buff in Generation 7, people still opt to use pretty much any other Pokemon over Mccargo. Mccargo is so forgettable in fact that I didn't even realize that there was a second G at the start of its name before trying to make this video. If you guys are unfamiliar, I'm your host PaPaSea, and in this series we take a look at some Pokemon that are bad competitively, discuss their positives, their negatives, and discuss why they are so bad. This series isn't just a random series where I objectively bash your favorite Pokemon. This is a competitive analysis of the Pokemon in a competitive setting against other players. This is very important to keep in mind, as if you are unfamiliar with competitive Pokemon battling, it is very different than battling against other gym leaders or NPCs within the game. We will rate Mccargo on a scale 1 to 5 based on its offense, defense, versatility, move pool, and overall viability. If Mccargo doesn't excel in any of these categories, then it is deemed to be a bad Pokemon and potentially the worst Pokemon ever. If you guys enjoy this series and you want to support the channel, make sure you click that like button as well and subscribe since it helps a ton, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a future upload. Taking a closer look at Mccargo, it is a fire and rock type Pokemon introduced in the second generation with the abilities Flame Body, Magma Armor, and Weak Armor. Mccargo has a stat line of 60 HP, 50 attack, 120 defense, 90 special attack, 80 special defense, and 30 speed. It got a nice 10-point boost in HP and special attack in Generation 7, but outside of its 120 defense, these stats are all pretty mediocre. We'll talk more about this in the negative section of the video, but for now, let's take a look at some of Mccargo's positives. For the first positive, 120 defense. That is a very respectable defensive stat. 120, pretty high. You also have access to the move Recover, which doesn't really make a lot of sense since you're like a snail, but having Recover is always good in defensive Pokemon since you can quite literally recover your health. You also have access to Stealth Rocks, which is always nice to have on pretty much any Pokemon. Stealth Rocks is one of those moves that any Pokemon really wouldn't mind having, so having it on Mccargo is always a good thing. And you also have quite a bit of resistance as being a Rock and Fire type. You combine all of its resistances with its 120 defense, and that's actually pretty good. Moving on to the negatives, however, you do have 2 4x weaknesses, which is very, very bad. It is cool having those resistances, but being 4x weak to water and ground, which are very, very common types, is not ideal. You also have some pretty useless abilities. You're pretty much never going to use this Pokemon for its abilities. I guess the best one would be Flame Armor since you can burn stuff, I guess, but outside of that, the abilities might as well just not be there. You also have a pretty low special attack set of 90. It's certainly not terribly low, but it's definitely not high enough to get a lot of kills for you. You also have poor overall coverage. You are predominantly a special attacker since you have 90 special attack and 50 attack. However, you really lack some special moves. One of those special moves you lack, which completely boggles my mind, I don't know why this Pokemon doesn't get this move, is Power Gem. Power Gem is probably the best special rock type move. There aren't very many of them, and when you're a special attacking rock type, you definitely want to have Power Gem, and for some reason this Pokemon does not even get Power Gem. Taking a quick look at Smogon's recommended set, we have Mccargo with the leftovers, the Flame Body ability, near max HP, max special defense, throwing the rest in regular defense, Calm Nature, with Stealth Rocks, Lava Plume, Toxic, and Recover. This is a pretty standard Mccargo set that I remember using back in Gen 6. It's nothing too great. I mean, if you use it in PU, it could be okay, but outside of that, there are plenty of better Stealth Rockers, plenty of other defensive Pokemon, especially when it comes to fire types. The next set we have is one of my gimmick sets that I came up with, which isn't really that great, but it can be fun to use. You have Mccargo with the Focus Sash, Weak Armor ability, so that way you can boost your speed when you take a hit, Timid or Modest Nature, whatever you prefer, with the max special attack and max speed, Shell Smash, Flamethrower, Ancient Power since you don't have Power Gem, and Hidden Power Ice. Basically, the premise with this is you send it out, click Shell Smash, you don't really have to fear getting one-shotted as long as rocks aren't up because you do have the Focus Sash, they hit you with a move, Weak Armor might activate, and then boom, you just go from there. Not the most reliable thing, but it's something that can bring a lot of fun to your team. In terms of things that can improve Mccargo, I think giving it a higher special attack, even if it's just another 10-point boost to 100, 100 is a very, very respectable special attack stat, a lot better than base 90. I think that'll help it a lot from an offensive standpoint. And also, better abilities. This Pokemon is one of those Pokemon that just doesn't really have an ability that you want to use. If this thing had Solid Rock, Sturdy, or even Drought, that would be fantastic. Drought's kind of out of left field, but according to its dex entries, Mccargo is one of the hottest Pokemon out there, and if Tortle can get Drought in Gen 7, I don't see why this thing couldn't have gotten Drought. Moving on to the ratings, in terms of offense, I will give Mccargo a 2 out of 5, because 90 in special attack really isn't horrible, although it's really not that high. You're not going to be able to do too much damage unless you get off a Shell Smash, or hit something with like 4 times super effective damage. Mccargo doesn't seem like it's designed to be an offensive Pokemon, however, so I really can't knock it too much from the offensive standpoint. For defense, I will give Mccargo a 2.5 out of 5. Mccargo's defenses seem pretty average despite its only 60 HP and 2 4x weaknesses. Luckily, it does have 120 in defense, recover, and many resistances to help make up for it. This is probably Mccargo's best feature as well, although even at that it struggles to be an average defensive Pokemon. For versatility, I will give Mccargo a 2 out of 5. One good thing about Mccargo is that it can be ran a couple of different ways like we mentioned earlier. It's not the most versatile Pokemon. It can be used as a Rock Slide, a Shell Smasher, and it does get some decent enough moves to warrant a few different sets, which is why I don't want to just give it a 1 in versatility. For Movepool, I'll give Mccargo a 2 out of 5. Mccargo's Movepool is rather lackluster, but it is far from being considered the worst Movepool we featured in this series. Moves like Stealth Rocks, Yawn, Recover, and Shell Smash are all moves that can go with pretty much any Pokemon, although in the special attacking department Mccargo is severely lacking, which is why I can only give it a 2 out of 5. And for viability, I will also give Mccargo a 2 out of 5. Mccargo is not totally unviable, however I wouldn't consider it good in any specific aspect. Other Pokemon do what Mccargo can do better, which is why Mccargo really isn't used too commonly. And that is Mccargo. Is Mccargo the worst Pokemon? Personally, I think Mccargo is one of the better Pokemon to be featured in the series so far. However, I have received quite a few comments in the past asking me to feature Mccargo in this series. Let me know what you guys think of Mccargo in the comment section down below for a chance to have your comment featured in the next Worst Pokemon video, like this comment right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye bye.